Happy Wednesday. You are listening to the VBAC Link podcast, and this is episode number 69. It's a special, close one to our hearts, especially Julie, because this is one of Julie's clients. Her name is Shannon, and she is a VBAC mama after 3 cesareans. They met at a local ICANN meetup, and if anybody doesn't know what ICANN is, that's International Cesarean Awareness Network, and they have groups all around, so check out your local ICANN if you haven't already. But they met at an ice cream meetup, and they just pretty much, it was fate. It was fate. They fell into each other's laps. And they have an amazing story. Shannon's story is inspiring, uplifting, empowering. I mean, you name it, all the words. So before we get into her story, though, Julie does have a review of the week. But you guys hang on here because you're going to love this story.
I'm going to have to try really, really hard not to tell the story for Shannon in this one because I've posted on social media about it. I've posted on our Facebook page about her. Her picture's been shared, and she's just an amazing inspiration of exactly how to take control of your birth and how to make your own decisions. But I'm just going to get to the review of the week, so I just don't tell the story for her. So this review comes all the way from Perth, Australia, which is so exciting to me. And it is from Lorraine Haley on Apple Podcasts. And she says, "Hello from Perth, Australia. I have recently discovered this podcast and I cannot get enough. I feel like a whole new world has been opened to me, and every episode I listen to just resonates so much with me. I am a mom of 1, my 14-month-old son who was born via emergency cesarean under general anesthetic. My husband and I are planning for another baby, and instead of being naive, feeling scared, and placing all my trust in my obstetrician, I feel so empowered and excited about all things VBAC. Thank you, Julie and Megan, from the bottom of my heart for creating this community." And I love that. We were actually just talking about how important it is to gain that confidence and gain that hope and be able to stand up for your decisions and your birth choices while you're working on that VBAC and while you're working towards it. But if you didn't already know, we love reviews. We love them. We love them. We love them. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a review, if you haven't already, go ahead and give this episode a pause. And you can leave us a review on Google or Facebook or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. I almost said fodcasts, like Facebook and podcasts mixed together. Podcast. Oh my goodness. Wherever you listen to podcasts, go ahead and give us a shout out, because knowing that these podcasts are helping you along your journey really warms our hearts and brightens our day. But after our little break, we are going to get right to Shannon's exciting story.
You are tuned in to the VBAC Link podcast with Julie Francom and Megan Heaton, VBAC moms, doulas, and educators here to help you get inspired for birth after having a C-section. Together, they have created a robust VBAC preparation course along with this uplifting podcast for women who are preparing for their VBAC. Although these episodes are VBAC specific, they encourage all expectant moms to listen and educate themselves on how to avoid a cesarean from the get-go. The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is not meant to replace advice from any other qualified medical professional. Here are your hosts, Julie and Megan.
All right, you guys, Shannon, we're going to turn the time over to you to tell this amazing story.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be on.
I'm so excited.
Kind of nervous, too, but I am excited to share my story because I've been trying for a VBAC for, including this one I just had, the last 3 births, and I finally got it on the last one. And so I've been through a lot of, trial and error, I guess you could say,
Yes.
trying to figure this out. So I thought it would be good to give a little bit of the backstory on why I had C-sections the first 3 times, because that kind of, works into the story of how I finally got my VBAC. So my first baby was breech, and I ended up getting preeclampsia. And what I didn't know then is that doesn't necessarily mean an automatic C-section, but for for my doctor, it kind of did. And so, but now I know that some doctors are willing to deliver breech babies, and with preeclampsia, you can get induced. So it's not an automatic C-section, but for me, that was the only option given to me. And so I did that. And then my second and third babies, I really feel like I got gypped. I was told that they were too big to birth, and I did not even get a chance to try. And the second one, they told me his head was going to be too big, and there was no way he was coming out. And that's the one I really feel like they just really should have given me a chance. And the third one, they did a late, how do you say it? It was like at week 38 or 39, I had a growth ultrasound done. And again, what I didn't realize then, what I know now, is that those are not very reliable to measure size of baby. But they had me do that, and they said that he was going to be huge, like over 10 pounds, and that his torso was way too big, and he would get stuck. And basically they said, you know, we could get him out, but it's very likely that his arm would be disabled for the rest of his life. So those are my choices, either C-section or you disable your baby.
Oh, my gosh.
And with that one, I had really done so much research. I really tried to find, you know, a VBAC supportive doctor. I went to a class that was specifically for women trying to do VBACs, which you guys have something like that, right?
Yes, we do. We do online and in Utah. But your class was years ago from Tishra. It was the same class that Tishra from episode 14, I think it was. Same class that she took.
Cool.
In Washington.
Cool.
In Seattle, yes. And it was so awesome. I loved it. I loved being around the other women there. But in the end, I really felt more prepared, right? And then in the end, I got this news, and I was completely devastated. And with both of those babies, they ended up weighing way less than what they had estimated. And so it kind of made me mad after the fact, like, well, maybe I could have got these babies out.
How much did they weigh? They were like, almost 9 pounds.
Almost 9. So they were big, but they weren't but
they were not giant. They were just a little bigger.
So the second one was 8'13". The third baby was 8'15". So yeah, big, but not
so reasonable to birth.
You've never heard of people birthing that size before. So, and I do want to point out, you know, my first two babies were born in Portland, Oregon, and the third baby was born in Seattle, Washington. And then this last one where I got the VBAC was here in Utah. And I was shocked that I found way more support here in Utah than I did in the Northwest, because the Northwest is known for being supportive of alternative medicine and, you know, kind of like hippie culture.
Yeah.
And so
more
I just thought it would be easy to find support up there. So I guess it doesn't really matter where you live. You just have to keep searching for the support network in your area. Anyways, that's right. So my third baby, I ended up having major complications afterwards. And I had like infections and allergic reactions. Breastfeeding was all wrong. The milk dried up. I ended up getting my gallbladder out. Just all kinds of crazy stuff. Oh, and then we moved. And then we moved from Seattle to Utah in the middle of it, like when the baby was 2 months old. And I was like a gigantic mess. And I finally went to a doctor here to talk to them about, but I wasn't like coping well or recovering well. And she actually said that I had PTSD from my last delivery. And I felt a little bit embarrassed that she was using that term on me, because I hadn't like gone to war. I had, nobody died. It wasn't anything truly tragic, but then there I was, like, filled to the brim with anxiety about getting pregnant again, and I was having, like, nightmares about it even. And so I knew I wanted another baby, but I couldn't, like, emotionally get past that to get pregnant again. So then I was starting to do research like crazy when I was thinking about getting pregnant, and that's how I came across the ICANN group in Utah. For the first time ever, I found a group of women that were willing to like go there with me and willing to entertain the idea of a VBAC after 3 C-sections without like, you know, laughing at me or telling me what a dumb choice that is, you know. And, you know, they were willing to share information, and they just really were supportive. So then I finally decided to get pregnant, and then I met up with another mom within the ICANN group who was in the same shoes as me, and we kind of compared notes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's the one that introduced me to you guys, to the VBAC link. And then, you know, my eyes and mind were open even more because you guys have so much great information. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I ended up setting up that meeting at the Froyo place that you guys were talking about that Julie came to. And I mean, it was so funny. There was a group of us there just talking about all the things birth related, and we were not being quiet at all.
I know. We're talking about like vaginas and
like,
cesareans and froyo.
Yeah, and so there's like, you know, high school kids there on a date and families there with their kids, and we are just like throwing out birth terms
Unapologetically.
But I so needed that. I needed to talk to other women that really understood what I was trying to do. And yeah, I like latched on to Julie like crazy. I was like picking her brain, and so I decided to hire her to be my doula. And it was the best decision ever. I truly don't think this would have happened without Julie and having a doula. Oh, and I meant to say that earlier in Seattle with that third birth. I did have a doula for that, but she was not like, she had been to one VBAC birth before, but she wasn't as experienced with VBACs. And it's been like night and day difference between the two doulas. So, you know, I should have vetted her a little bit more, and I think it helps to find somebody that has experience with what your situation is. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so then through the two groups, with your group and the other group, I found recommendations for doctors. I found a doctor close to me that was like supposedly VBAC friendly. So
we just giggle a little because we all know who the doctor is, but we're not going to say his name. But we're not going to say his name.
And I do like him. He's a great guy, and he has helped people do VBACs. But when I went to him, the first appointment, you know, I said, I'm trying to do a VBAC after 3 C-sections. You came recommended to me. And he kind of looked at the floor with a heavy sigh, and it was almost like he was saying in his mind, like, why do these people keep coming to me?
Oh my gosh.
Are you serious?
That makes me so
but
sad.
he didn't say no. And
Yeah.
so I took that to be a yes, because, you know,
Right.
after 3 C-sections, who's going to even give you a chance?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I just ran with it. I just pretended I didn't see that and just kept going. So then around the 20-week mark, and, you know, when you do your big ultrasound,
Mm-hmm.
they measured my scar on the uterus, and he came in and told me that it was 0.3 centimeters too thin, and that he thought things didn't look positive for the VBAC, but he still wasn't saying no. But I had been in this, you know, not measuring the scar, but I'd been in this place twice before where it's like the doctor is finding a reason, you know, like looking for something that's wrong. So I went back to the groups on Facebook, and I was like, oh my gosh, 0.3 centimeters is such a small measurement, like, and now I might not get my VBAC. And somebody on there, I really need to go back and look who it was that recommended that I reach out to this new doctor. I can't remember who it was, but somebody on there recommended that I go see Dr. Silver at University of Utah. And I'm so grateful for that suggestion. I ended up going to see him, and I ended up switching care to him. And he, you know, they redid the ultrasound, remeasured, had lots of people look at it. They felt like the scar looked fine and there was no concern there. And he was much more positive with me about the possibility of doing the VBAC. And, you know, he didn't shy away from sharing the statistics and all the risks and all the stuff that you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
But he is somebody that has a lot of experience doing VBACs after multiple C-sections.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tend to be like high-strung and panicked about everything. And so he would come in and calm me down and you know, just it kind of acts like, why are you even worried about that? Like, that's not even something to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
He called me his favorite crazy lady.
I was just going to say that. It's like,
I like to think I'm
crazy lady.
it was almost endearing. Your favorite.
I like to think I'm the only one he would call that, but I don't know that I am. But that gives you a little taste of how I was feeling and how he was feeling. But I really did have a ton of anxiety going into this delivery because, you know, I tried to do it twice before. I mean, I don't even need to explain. It's, you know, a VBAC after 3 C-sections. There's going to be anxiety.
Yeah, of course.
And so, but I got on track. I was with the new doctor, with the right hospital. And then Julie really worked with me a lot on my fears and everything. And I called her and texted her all the time with crazy questions.
Creepy questions?
She said crazy.
Oh, crazy. I thought you said creepy questions. I was like, what's a creepy question? No, it was great. I love it. I love that kind of client relationship where we just talk all the time.
You always had an answer for me, and that was awesome, too. So, and then we did the fear release session, which was so awesome. And, you know, it sounds a little out there, like hippy-dippy, but what we did was I wrote down all of my fears with going into the birth, and then we went through each one, and you helped me address each one specifically, and which ones could I take action items on to, you know, work through the fear.
Homework.
Yeah. Then we went to the fire pit in the backyard, and I burned each one individually, and it was very cathartic to just like release it, just be like, I am done with this. So,
hey, there is science behind that. Like, that creates a dopamine response in your brain that actually helps your brain heal and resolve that fear. It is science. I love doing that. It has to be,
because it totally works. Yeah. And, you know, so I still had the thoughts rolling around in my head, but it wasn't like the focus. It wasn't like the forefront of everything that I was thinking about like it was before. So I was able to just kind of let it go. And then I also was going to the chiropractor like 1 to 2 times a week, and that really helped, I think, as well. It helped me not have as many issues physically, like with my sciatica, and I think it helped me get ready for birth. And then, so I'm like mentally getting ready, I'm physically getting ready, and then there was a spiritual aspect to it as well, which, you know, I talked to you about. I'm not sure how much of this I want to share on a podcast, but it was helpful and healing for me. And so I had some like spiritual energy work done, and which also again sounds a little out there, but it really was what I needed. And through that process, I was able to get like a little confirmation in my heart that I had like angels surrounding me, helping me bring this baby into the world.
That was huge. That was a huge moment. I tell everyone, really, like, I used to not be a crier, but then since I met you, I just sob at everything now. I do.
Julie kept telling me I'm not a crier. I swear I'm not a crier, but I swear every time we would get together, she would cry.
Yeah.
I would always cry.
She's been saying that for the last year, and I'd say I beg to differ.
And now I'm just like, I'm just a wall baby like the rest of you.
It's okay. It's okay. You have to release the emotion, you know?
I'm releasing it, man.
So I had this really cool experience, and, you know, and I felt like some of the angels surrounding me were my ancestors, like specifically my grandma and grandpa. So it was just kind of a cool thought that kind of gave me strength as I was going into the process that me and the baby are being watched over, and they are going to help us. Okay, so I did all this work, like, you know, mentally, spiritually, physically, And then towards the end of the pregnancy, everybody starts saying, oh, it's going to be a big baby. And, it's like, okay, I've been here before.
Again. Yeah.
Here we go again. And I had already decided if it is a big baby, I am still going to try for the VBAC. I'm not going to let that be a reason this time.
Listen up, mamas. I want to tell you all about this amazing, revolutionary product, Madison Reed. This company has changed my life. No more finding babysitters for 3 to 4 hours. No more spending $90+ to get my hair done. They sent me this amazing color kit after I worked with their color specialists to find the perfect color for me. I opened it up and I was so excited. I was a little intimidated at first, kind of looking through it, but then I realized they sent me to-do steps on a video and everything I needed right there in the kit. These master colorists have seriously branded light, dark, warm, cool, over 45 gorgeous multi-tonal shades. My hair was seriously drab. My mother-in-law looked at me and said, yeah, you need some help. You guys, this color specialist, I told him exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to pull out the brassiness out of my hair and give it more of that warm, nice, natural color brown, and that's exactly what happened. Check out our before and after pictures. They are on our Instagram. Check them out today. Head over to madison-reed.com/the VBAC link right now and check it out. Take the coloring quiz, find out what color fits you best, and order today. With our special promo from Madison Reed, you get 10% off on your first color kit. Ladies, this is $25 or less. Again, you can find that at madison-reed.com/the VBAC link. The promo is applied right at checkout.
So I went in for my next appointment, which was my 40-week appointment. And I thought for sure that the doctor would set an induction date, which I also want to point out, not every doctor willing to do VBACs is willing to induce.
Yep.
So I was lucky that my doctor was willing to do that. But so I go in and I'm sure he's going to set the induction date, but it was a really weird appointment and it was like rushed, and they didn't say anything about that. They just acted like it was any other appointment and said, okay, we'll see you next week unless you go into labor. And I was like, what? Okay, great. Then the next week comes, and I swear I was doing all the things that you're supposed to do to get ready to make the baby come. I was walking, I went and had, eggplant. That was something someone suggested. Just all the things. And so I go to the 41-week appointment, and they checked me, and I was at a 0. And it wasn't even like a tiny bit dilated. And I just felt so defeated. And I know for that reason, a lot of people decline being checked. But I was at 41 weeks. I needed to know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And so that appointment did not go well. And I know Dr. Silver is very supportive of VBACs, but he came in and he was like, because you're so far past your due date. So at that point, I was 9 days past my due date. And because my body wasn't showing any signs of being ready, and because I'm probably having a big baby, he said that my VBAC success rate went down to like 10 to 15%. And that he recommended a repeat C-section. And I broke right there. My husband was there with me, and I just started crying. And I should back up because I don't know if I said this part, that they had wanted me to go in and get the growth. Did I say this already?
You did not. I was going to jump in and say it, but you didn't. Sorry. No, it's okay.
So I think it was like at 38-ish weeks, or maybe it was 39. They wanted me to go in and do that, late-term growth ultrasound. And at first, I was like, okay, it's fine because we're not going to make a decision based on that. It's just a piece of information to have. But then I talked, I like went home and I was like praying about it. I talked it through with like Julie and my husband and everybody. And then I was like, you know what? I don't feel good about it anymore. It's just going to be the point of no return. And so I called and canceled it.
Yes.
And I was really scared to do that.
I was so proud of you.
So I did, and I'm so glad that I did, because they just were assuming that, I mean, I gained a lot of weight during pregnancy. And they were assuming that the baby was going to be huge because my belly was huge and I'd gained a lot of weight, and they just were making assumptions. And so do I say here how much the baby ended up weighing, or do I wait till the end?
Wait till the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's a suspense.
Okay. All right. Stay tuned, people. So he's telling me he's recommending a repeat C-section. And, at this point, I'm really trying to figure out, am I pushing for something that's not possible? We've gone to the best of the best. He knows what he's talking about. He's very positive about VBACs, and he is telling me repeat C-section. And we've gone to him for his knowledge and his advice, and I need to listen to him. So I asked him what my options are, and he said if I still wanted to try for the VBAC, that we could do the Pitocin and try for it. But he was pretty positive that it would be a long labor that would end in a C-section. And I said, okay, well, I need to go home and think about it. And so we went home, and we were praying like crazy. I had my dad come over and give us those blessings, which in our religion is just a special prayer, basically, to help us have more clarity and make the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and my husband went into separate rooms, and we each were kind of praying on our own to try to kind of get inspiration on the situation. And I felt like I got my answer pretty quickly, but he wasn't ready to talk about it until the next morning. And when we talked about it in the morning, he said that he felt okay with me trying for the VBAC, if that's what I wanted to do. And that is the same feeling that I got, that this truly was the right path for me to continue to try for the VBAC. So I called Dr. Silver, and I was so nervous to make that phone call to him. And I don't know if he's a religious person or not, but I told him that we prayed about it and that we still felt like the VBAC was the right choice. And at that point in time, I feel like this is where Dr. Silver kind of sets himself apart, because instead of like putting more fear into me or throwing out numbers at me, he just said, okay, then we'll do everything we can to make it happen for you.
And I think that I just want to like highlight that right now, because I think you're right. Like that is something that sets him apart as really VBAC supportive and just supportive of women's choices and their body autonomy, is because he advised you and then you decided against his advice. And then he said, okay, I'll do everything I can to help you with your decision. And I think that it really is, a standout provider.
Absolutely. I mean, I had the information, the statistics, all the facts that I needed. But in the end, he really allowed me to listen to my own intuition. And I feel like through this whole process, I really honed in on that skill of listening to my intuition. So then he told me to come in that day and let's get started. So we head to the hospital. And at this point, people, I am 10 days overdue. And everybody around me, like all my friends were like, how are you waiting this long? And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I've already waited, through 4 pregnancies to try to make this happen. What's another couple of days?
Yeah.
At the end of this, even though I was miserable and I wanted it to be done. So we go there, and they put me in this room that was so small. It was like a janitor's closet, and it had no windows. And It was so tiny, but I was
remember
there
you
and I was
texted me. You said, "Okay, we're in our room. It has no window and no tub." And I was like, "Oh."
and no tub, yeah. And so, but I was excited to be there. It was fine. It's like, whatever, let's do this in the hall if we have to. So they get me ready for the Pitocin, and they checked me again. I'm still fully closed. Like, not dilated at all.
Oh.
And again, I want to point this out because I think a lot of providers at this point would not even try this if I'm not showing any dilation at all. But he was willing to let me try. So I started the Pitocin at about 3:30 p.m. And then we just did it really low and slow for like overnight. They were going to leave me at that overnight to try to help me dilate a little bit. So then, like around 2 in the morning, I finally was dilated like a half a centimeter, which is like nothing. But it was enough for them to get the Foley bulb inserted, which, do we need to explain what that is?
No.
A Foley
bulb?
You can if you want.
It's a catheter that goes into the cervix, and they inflate it, and it puts pressure on the cervix, causing it to manually dilate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, you did that better than I could.
Good job, Megan.
So now, through this process, I actually had like 3 different panic attacks, and I get anxiety under the best of circumstances, but with all of this happening and being in the small room and getting claustrophobic, I had like 3 different times that I like really panicked. So about that time that they put that in, I kind of freaked out because it was, a little uncomfortable and it's just a lot going on. But they helped me calm down. And then it took until about 11 the next day. So now I'm 11 days overdue, 11 in the morning. And I finally was dilated to a 3.5 and 80% efface, and they were able to take the Foley bulb out. And I actually broke down and started crying. And I wasn't expecting that, but it was like the first sign of real progress, and I was like emotional about it. And then they wanted to break my water, but I wasn't ready. I don't know why. I just felt like, no, let's not do that yet. And so I pushed them off 2 different times. Mm-hmm. And then finally, later on, I think it was like 4 hours after that, I let them do it. But before that, Julie came and helped me like move around, and we were dancing, trying to get the baby to move.
We were dancing like breakup songs and high school jams. That was fun.
Yes, and I am 36, so I am a geriatric pregnancy. So when I say we went old school with the music, I mean old school. It was like Salt and Pepper.
Oh, push it. Yeah.
What was the song that I sent you?
I got
where? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to this and I was like, please send this to Shannon.
We did listen to that one.
Yep.
Too.
That was fun. We were moving and grooving just like uncoordinated white girls.
Hey, speak for yourself. I was looking pretty good.
You were jamming in that hospital gown and monitors and all that. We were getting low.
Okay, so we did lots of work, like the abdominal lifts and all the stuff. And my cervix wasn't changing, so they finally broke the water, which is such a weird feeling. It's like a swimming pool gushing out of you. I was like, I don't know how you prepare yourself for that, but I wasn't prepared for that feeling. And the baby did engage right away, but I still was not dilating, and I stayed at a 4 forever. It just felt like forever and ever and ever. So then later that night at let's see, so now we're at 7:30 on 11 days overdue. And I finally asked for the epidural, because at that point I'm like well over 24 hours into this process. I'm having these crazy contractions with the Pitocin, and it just got really intense all of a sudden, and I couldn't handle it anymore. So, and that was another point of anxiety attack. And then we got the epidural and I was able to calm down a little bit. Let's see. So then, but again, even with that, I stayed at a 4 for so long. And then at about, let's see, so about 1:15 in the morning. So now we're on day 12. 12 days past my due date.
Yeah, you were at a 4 for almost 24 hours, I think. Is that?
Yeah.
And when she says a long time, she's not talking about like 3 or 4 hours. She's talking like a day.
Yeah. And I was doing all this work I'd done everything to try to get the baby to help me, dilate and everything. And it just wasn't working. And so around that time, like 1:15, and somewhere around here, Julie had left to get a little bit of rest, and so she keeps saying sorry that she wasn't there when I had a massive panic attack during this time.
I feel so bad.
Nothing you could have done would have prevented this. It just was the small room. Oh, we did move to a different room with a tub, but it was still it was actually smaller than the previous room. So it had a tub, but it was even smaller, and still no windows. And I had been in there for so long, I hadn't seen the outside world since 2 days before. And it was just so long, and I couldn't take it anymore. And, once you have the epidural, you can't get up and move. And so that was part of it, too. And I freaked out, and I called the doctor in, I called the nurse in, and I was telling them, I'm like, I am having a panic attack. I am freaking out. I don't know what to do. And you should just go do the C-section right now. And they helped me calm down and talk it through. And they said, I asked them, what is my timeline? At what point do we have to go do the C-section? And they said, we have about 8 more hours. If you show progress in 8 hours, then we can keep going. But if you don't, then we'll have to do the C-section. And so at that point, with this third massive panic attack and, not progressing, I finally, mentally kind of let go. And I was just so tired and I just needed it to end. And I was like, okay, you know what? If I don't show any progress, I'm okay with going in for the C-section. And I kind of made peace with it. And I would have totally been fine if that's what happened, because I had tried
You'd
so
worked
hard.
so hard up until that point, for sure.
And so I asked them to give me a sleeping pill because I just needed to rest. And so I did. And then I woke up, 4 hours later, and I was dilated to an 8 after being stuck at a 4 for so long. I was like, what? And so then we called Julie to come back in, and she came right in, and it wasn't very much longer after that I was fully dilated, and it was so painful. I was like, what is happening? And Julie was telling me I was going through transition, and my body was trying to start pushing, and I was like, this just hurts so bad. Even with the epidural, so I do not know how people do it without the epidural.
They had it on a little bit of a lower dose for you, too.
I think that I actually have a friend that what do you call him, an anesthesiologist? That he was telling me that if they started me when I was at a 4, that it would have been a lower dose. So we'll go with that. But I didn't have as high of an epidural. Anyways, so then they come in and they tell me to start pushing. And this is 7 in the morning now. And I had waited for that moment for so long, so many years, so many pregnancies. And when they finally told me that I could start pushing, you better believe I was pushing like my life depended on it.
You were so good. You were such a good pusher.
I was. Who knew? So they were still suspecting that this baby was going to be big. And so they mentioned to me the shoulder dystocia thing and that the baby could get stuck. And they said if that happens, that someone would jump up on the table on top of me and start pushing on my stomach to help the baby get low enough to move past my pelvis.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? And I'm trying to listen to them and make these decisions in the middle of like the worst pain ever and trying to push through the contractions every time they kept like crashing over me. But I still felt like it sounded like a better idea than an emergency C-section, so we kept going. And then the baby's heart rate started to dip when I would push. And so they were getting a little concerned and they wanted to get her out quickly. So they said that we could do this with forceps because I was pushing so well. They said normally they wouldn't even consider forceps. And then, again, they're telling me all the risks involved with that in the middle of pushing. And so I'm looking around at everybody, like my husband, like, do we do this? I don't know. So then we decided to say it's okay. So with the forceps, about 20 minutes later at 8 in the morning, finally the baby was born. 41 hours after they started Pitocin.
41 hours.
41 hours. So they put the baby on me, but then they took her away really quick. And I expected, like, right away to feel overjoyed and everything. But I was just in total shock. Like, what the crap just happened? And they took the baby away because she wasn't crying yet. They had to, like, do all the stuff they do. And then they brought her back to me. And then when I was able to hold her longer, then I finally, the emotion kind of sunk in, and I just burst into, like, the best, like, beautiful, ugly cry you've ever seen.
Yes, it was. It's so amazing.
I think that's the picture you posted on
the
Facebook group. It's like, quadruple chins happening.
Oh,
but
stop. Nobody even notices that.
It was amazing, though. And yeah. I finally got that moment, and I had to fight for it, and I had to really listen to myself, but we did it. We got the baby here, and she's healthy, and everything's good.
So amazing. And tell everyone how big she was.
Oh, right. She was 7 pounds, 14 ounces.
Mm-hmm. The perfect size.
Big baby.
The perfect size.
And that was 12 days late.
Yeah.
So, like, if she would have been born on time, she would have been even smaller. So, everybody just assumed she was big, and she just came out just the right little size.
Yeah. It was so good. I remember when one of the things I really admired about the University of Utah staff is they explained everything to you. It literally, like, it was true informed consent. You chose when your water was broken. They asked you like 2 or 3 times, and you said, no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. And they said, okay, we'll check again at the next cervical check. And then 4 hours later, they would do a cervical check and ask you again. And you said, well, I'm still not ready yet. And then you decided, okay, now it's time to break my water. And I really love that. It was so amazing. And the same thing with the forceps delivery, they're like, they wanted to explain everything to you before it got to the point where they would have to use the forceps, because they still weren't quite sure if they would need them or not, but they wanted to make sure that you were informed before it got to that choice. And I remember it was so cute. Oh, 2 cute things. First of all, when the doctor said, okay, well, she's low enough that we're definitely going to be able to get her out with forceps if we have to. And so C-section's not even an option right now. And I remember do you want to say it? Do you want to say what you did? Tell him.
Of course, everyone can probably guess. I burst into tears again.
She just burst into tears because she was just being told she would not have to have a C-section. Like, that was the for sure moment.
I actually reached out and asked the doctor if I could hold his hand.
Oh, how cute.
So sweet.
Thank you. Got me
and I was crying. Miss Not a Crier.
Adorable.
I was just bawling. Everyone was bawling.
Aww.
And then I remember after the delivery, the nurse was like, okay, well, we're going to wait a little bit to get you some solid food, but we would like you to have something. So do you want, we can bring you Jell-O. Do you want orange Jell-O or cherry Jell-O? And you just looked at her and you're like,
juice.
Oh, juice. Yeah, she's like, do orange juice or apple juice? And she's like, and you said, I don't want to make a single other decision. I don't even care. Just bring me one.
I couldn't. She gave me 4 options. It was it literally made my brain explode. I'm like, just pick something and bring it to me.
And it was so funny. It was funny, but it was like such a testament to like, you were literally in control the whole way. Your whole pregnancy, you denied the girl scan. The doctor said, oh, you only have 10 to 15% chance of having a successful VBAC, and you said, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyways. There's a lot more to it than that, but like you were in charge.
It was a lot. There was a lot, and changing providers.
Yep.
And I kind of like lived through this like via text.
Vicariously.
Yeah. Because Julie was updating me, and like just so many things. So many of the choices that you made led you down this path to this baby being birthed via vagina.
Via vagina. Viva vagina.
And I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you because, a lot of the stuff that you went through was very emotional, very hard, very, very daunting when you've got this provider who, like you said, he's worldwide known to be supportive. And then he's sitting here saying, actually, I think we should schedule a cesarean. So, it really took guts to do what you did. And just congratulations on following your mama heart and rocking that VBAC.
You're amazing. Do you want to tell them what Dr. Silver did after the birth?
I was just going to say,
okay,
so Dr. Silver was, checked in on me several times, but he wasn't actually there when the baby came out. It was other people,
a resident,
the staff.
Mm-hmm.
So he called me after I was in the recovery room, and he said, I'm so happy that I was wrong. And you it was so funny. He said, you must feel like a badass right now.
You're like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
He's such a great guy.
So I thought that was really nice that he reached out afterwards to just say, like, I'm glad I was wrong.
Yeah. It just kind of goes to show also the type of provider he is, because a lot of providers would kind of scoff that off, like.
Or just say, oh, you got lucky.
Oh, it was, yeah. So I'm glad that he recognized that and said, I'm so glad that I was wrong, and congratulations, and you should feel like a badass, because you are.
Totally badass.
I am so excited, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing with us. Seriously, it's inspiring. Your picture is just, I get tingles in my nose when I get emotional. And it gives me the tingles.
I see it right
now. That's what I talk about.
Terrible.
It's the tingles. It gives me the tingles, makes me emotional. And I wish I could have just been a fly on the wall that day to witness this in person, because you are amazing. So we know you're going to inspire so many women out there. And if anybody is wanting to kind of get some more information on some things that we have to offer, you can check out our blog. We have 7 surprising studies on VBAC after multiple C-section, and these really are a lot of surprising things that a lot of people are like, whoa, I didn't know that. So head over to our blog today. It's at thevbaclink.com/blog. Or you can scroll down in your show notes, and we will have that attached right there as well. Give it a read. Let us know what you think about it. And Women of Strength, follow your hearts. Follow your hearts. It's not going to lead you astray. And congratulations again, Shannon.
Thank you.
Would you like to be a guest on the podcast? Head over to thevbaclink.com/share and submit your story. For more information on all things VBAC, including online and in-person VBAC classes, the VBAC blog, and Julie and Megan's bios, head over to thevbaclink.com. Congratulations on starting your journey of learning and discovery with the VBAC Link.